Good morning, everyone. So it's now the weekend, and had a chance to go spend the evening doing something fun last night. I got to go watch a movie, which I haven't done in a while, and always nice to let's see, normalize myself a little bit by doing fun things every now and then. So had a chance to really just kind of let things go yesterday, which was nice. I'm watching the results of the midterm elections, seeing some of the news articles coming out, seeing some of the ways things are changing um, as time is moving forward in this country. And it's come to my attention that I need to just let it go. This is one of the reasons why I've chosen the path that I'm on. The fact that on average, about 33, 34% of voters actually went out to the election booths this last election tells me a lot about how people feel about this country. And one of the reasons why I think it's important that we start talking about these things. In our culture, there's three subjects that are considered to be taboo. And they're considered to be taboo because we might find disagreement. Unfortunately, if we don't talk about things, we can never also find that we are in agreement about what's going on. So those three subjects are constantly talked about as, just don't talk about these things. One is religion, the other one is politics, and the other one is money. And so money is probably the one that I think causes the biggest problems in our country. If you look at the difference between income ranges between men and women, there's a lot of excuses that are created around why that separation exists and why it's going to continue for some time. But I think the biggest reason is that people don't talk about how much they make. As a matter of fact, in most organizations, if you talk about how much you make with people you work with, chances are you can get fired. And I think that's wrong. I think we need to make that a very common conversation because companies go out of their way to make sure that they can hire people at the lowest possible wage. And then they go out of their way to limit promotions and pay increases because all of those things affect their bottom line. So why not talk about what somebody's income is? Why not talk about what the people across the line from you are making? Because if you don't know if you're even at the same level, you have no way of gauging whether or not you're being compensated according to your skills. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just asking some questions and proposing some ideas. So with politics, I think the same things are true. I have a lot of conversations with people that tell me they are staunch Republican. And then when I start talking to them, they don't have the Republican core values, at least not what the Republican Party is promoting these days. And I talk to people that are staunch Democrats, and they don't have the same core values that the Democratic Party are preaching today. So there's some really strong emotional ties to calling ourselves part of one group or another when we may or may not actually believe in what that party is supporting. And I can't imagine that our politicians are any different. So they get to Congress, or they get to the Senate, or they get to whatever public office they happen to be in, and they start voting down party lines because, frankly, our system is so confusing and so broken that what choice do they have? You can't research every single issue that goes on in this country to the level of depth that you need to in order to be able to address it. That's why they have staffs. That's why they have people there that are supposed to do the research for them. But even those people get confused by the amount of information that's going through the legislative process. So at some point, we need to have a major overhaul. And that's what we propose with the Rational Movement. And the group behind the Rational Movement is called the Republic Guard. And so, as a member of the Republic Guard, we are proposing that we simplify our systems because they've been over-engineered and overcomplicated to the point where not only can the average citizen not understand what's really going on in the political process, because frankly, even the politicians can't understand what's going on in the political process. And so all these major decisions are based on emotions and whims and who can incite the most energy around a concept. And then you get all these negative attack ads because person X or whatever decided to vote on something that thought was really good, but in the backside there was a bunch of really negative stuff. And that's how these really smart lobbyist groups and really smart financial groups get control of our government, is they find something that the House or the Senate is likely to very adamantly support, and then they attach all this crap on the backside. And so those are the kinds of things that we need to address. And as a country, I think we need to demand that there is a line item veto ability in our government. Because if you can't veto out the things that are bad, they get attached as riders, and most people don't even understand that they're happening. And so that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of our society is religion. And in our society, we're told that you don't talk about religion with other people because we might disagree. And we might. We are likely going to disagree. Because I think there's very few people that have a firm grasp on what their beliefs really are. And I will say that with absolute confidence, because when I start talking to people about religion, almost immediately they become defensive and argumentative. And when people are defensive and argumentative, it generally means that they don't have a good comprehension on what they're arguing about. It's common psychology, folks. So as I travel through the world and people start to become argumentative, I immediately just take a step back, let them argue themselves into a corner, and then ask them a few questions, and then leave it alone. Because arguing with somebody that's emotional is absolutely pointless. It doesn't do any good. I'm not going to convince them, and they're not going to convince me. And so we go back and forth, and we just argue about crap, and it's pointless. So rather than arguing with people, I am going to spend the next few weeks finding and communicating with people that want to have educated conversations. And we're probably not going to change each other's opinions, and that's okay. But it's more about having the dialogue. It's more about understanding what the other person's point of view is. Not trying to change it, not trying to move them from one point or another, but simply having dialogue. Because what I found in this world is you never know what something is going to do long term. You can have a dialogue with somebody today, and it may not have an effect for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But I can assure you there's been times in my life where I've been a part of a small, what I thought was pretty meaningless group, and then later on saw the long-term effects of that being a very amazing project. And when I was in it, I thought, we're just doing this to have some fun. A great example, I was a part of a collective of veterans at Colorado State University that we started having what we called a social drinking group. And it was literally, we were going to have a veteran student group for the point of place for somebody to go that didn't really feel like they fit in campus, because we really didn't. I find out years later that now Student Veterans of America is a big part of the CSU culture. And I'm very proud of that. Not because we started a social drinking group, but because veterans needed something in order to rally, in order to get organized. And eventually somebody had the bright idea to turn it into something amazing. And so that's really what this whole rational movement is all about. That's really what this whole Republic Guard is all about, is we're going to see things and we're going to talk about things and we're going to interact with each other in ways that eventually will spin out some really amazing ideas. And right now, our most important subject is we want to take corruption out of Washington. We want to take the power that money has over our government and limit it. And the only thing that we can come up with so far is to decentralize the government. So stay tuned, stay in touch, and we look forward to seeing you more on the road. I'm going to be traveling again soon. And I'm going to start trying to schedule some meetings with some of the people in political office that I think are in line with what we are trying to accomplish, because we will find a way to take back our government from the money and the manipulation that's been occurring. And it's going to happen soon, because we can't fail. This can't continue. So until next time, have a great day. Ciao.